To my channel. So in this video I'm going to show you guys how to make this jumpsuit, and we are going to be starting with the pant. I'm using 3 yards of Akara fabric. The first step is to fold your fabric into 2, which I've done here, and then the width of the fold here is basically my hip measurement divided by 4 plus like extra 4 inches just to be safe. I can always cut out the excess. So the first thing I'm going to do is to go ahead, place my tape at the top here, and then I'm going to measure from my waist to my hip, which is at 10 inches, and then my waist to my crotch, which is at 12 inches. How you're going to measure it is, for your crotch, is you can divide your hip measurement by 2, or you can just sit on a flat surface and measure from your waist to the chair. That's how you're going to get your crotch. So guys, but for my crotch I'm going to use 13 because I want to add 1 inch to it, because this is a jumpsuit. You never want to, if it was a pant, I'll stick to my crotch measurement, but since it's a jumpsuit I want to add 1 inch to it, just so that it will be free a little bit inside of the crotch, because I don't want it to be digging into my body, right? So I'm going to do 13 instead of the original 12 that I had here. I'm going to do plus 1, which is 13. So I'm going to rule these lines across this way. So guys, now we have our waist to our hip, our waist to our crotch. Next thing I'm going to do now is just to come in here on my hip line, and then I'm going to mark my hip measurement divided by 4, which is going to be 12 because my hip is 48, plus 1.5 of sewing allowance. If you want, you can do 1 inch of sewing allowance and use half an inch on the center, half an inch on the side, but I'm going to do 1.5 because, and then after that I'm going to now insert, I'm going to go ahead and take this measurement I have here, which is my hip measurement divided by 4 plus all my seam allowances, which is this 1.5. I'm going to insert it on this lower line, and it's going to be 13.5, right? And then I'm going to bring it up here again, and it's going to be 13.5. So guys, basically your hip measurement divided by 4 plus your seam allowance, which is 1.5 is what I'm using. Depending on you, you can use 1 inch. So I'm going to mark that here. So connect it in a straight line from this distance like this. And then after that, you're going to insert your crotch measurements, which you can do. You know what you got as your hip measurement before, right? Which for me was 12 inches before I added my 1.5 of seam allowance. That 12 inches that you got, or whatever your hip was before, if you divide it by 4, divide it by 4 again. So for me, that's going to be 3. So that's why I have 3 here. So you're going to go ahead and mark in your 3. So this is what I have here. So guys, or another way you can calculate this crotch measurement is just to take your thigh measurement. Whatever your thigh is, place it here. My thigh is about 30. My thigh divided by 2 will now be 15. So your thigh divided by 2, you can take it and place it here. If I did that, it would have been 12 inches on this side, and then 3 here. So that's total of 15 inches, right? But remember, I added 1.5 here. So that's why whenever you go to do that, also remember your seam allowance, right? So just basically, you can do your thigh measurement divided by 2 on this line. But remember, you already added seam allowance here, so it might look like it's shortened. So always put back that seam allowance, and then you get your total measurement on the crotch. Or you can just go ahead and divide your hip measurement by 4. Whatever you get, divide it by 4 again, and then use it as your crotch. So guys, that's basically it. Our pant is done on this side. You can go ahead and mark your shoulder measurement divided by your shoulder measurement to your knee, to your wherever you want the pant to be, like to your ankle or wherever, and then you're going to subtract your half length from it. So I'm going to measure from my shoulder and then subtract my half length. So guys, my own is supposed to be about 59.5, right? So if I subtract my half length from it, I'm going to be left with about 41.5. So I'm going to add extra like 2 inches to that. So 1 inch, depending. So you can do 2 inches or you can do 1.5. So I'm going to just mark it here, and then I'm going to just go ahead. This is going to be the length of the pant I'm working with down here. So once you've done that, come up here by 1 inch from this angle, and then use it as a curve for your crotch this way. And once you've done that, come up to this point here, divide your waist measurement by 4. My waist is 8.34 divided by 4 is going to be 8.5. Mark that here. Add 1 inch of sewing allowance, 1 inch of sewing allowance, and 1 inch of 1.5 inch of side seam allowance, because that was what we did on this point here. So I've marked that. I'm going to now connect it from here to the hip line. So guys, basically what I did is my waist measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch of darting and then plus 1.5. That's basically the length what I have here. And then from this point now, I'm going to insert my dart. Remember, you're still going to take away like half an inch of sewing this center part. So what I'm going to do is just to go ahead and use, I'm going to go ahead and skip like half an inch at this edge here and then insert my nipple to nipple measurement. So my nipple to nipple is 8 divided by 2 is going to be 4. Mark that here and then stop 2 inches before my hip line, which is somewhere here, and this is going to be my dart. Guys, the reason why I'm using 1.5 for my sewing allowance is because I'm going to use half an inch for the center crotch and then 1 inch for the side. That's why I made it like 1.5, right? But if you want, you can do 1 inch of sewing allowance and use half at the center, half at the side. So all I have to do now is this same measurement. Now I'm going to use it to cut it all the way down. The same measurement you have here is what you're going to take and put down at the bottom. So like I said, your thigh measurement plus that seam allowance you added is what I use on this point here. So I'm going to take that same measurement I took from here and bring it down here. So that's going to be the opening at the end of my pant because it's a wide leg pant. So what I'm going to do now is to fold my fabric again and use this pattern to cut the back. Going to do is make sure you have about 1.5 on the center part here, like the side with this your curve, and then you have on the crotch part you have about almost 3 inches here. If you're big, you would use 3 inches. If you're more on the smaller side, you can do 2.5. So I'm going to use 3 inches here because this is hip of 48. So I'm going to mark that here, extension of 3 inches from where your front crotch ends, and then on the waist you're going to rule a line at the edge here just to make this line straight like this, so you know where the waist of your front panel is, if you guys can see that. So just pay attention here. You see where my waist stops, I marked a straight line here, and then you know whatever you have here as your crotch is going to be extension of the waist part here. So make sure you have 3 inches up here at the top, right? So from this line here, I'm supposed to have about 3 inches because that's the measurement I have for my crotch is going to be the measurement I have here because there's the butt at the back. Remember, it's the back panel we are drafting. So from this point now, you're going to come in 2 inches here. That's from the point of where your front panel is. I'm going to come in 2 inches here. So my front panel ended here. So 2 inches in from that point is somewhere here. And then I'm going to take it up to mark that 3 inches, which is this line here. Right, so take it up to mark that 3 inches, and then after that you're going to connect from this point now to this point. So guys, now that I've marked it, the next thing I have to do is to take my my waist measurement, this line of my waist, the front panel waist, right, which what I have here is about 11.5. I'm going to insert it from the peak of this line to wherever it fits on this line that I marked here. So 11.5 fits in here. From this point, it fits in somewhere here. I've marked that, so it fits in here. And then I'm going to use a line to rule with it to join the two of them together. So from this point now to that point. So guys, once you've done that, the only thing remaining now is just to add in that 1.5 that I talked about on these whole sides of your pants to the end. So add in 1.5 all the way. And once you've done that, you're going to just go ahead and connect it into the 1.5 line. So that's basically it for my back panel now. And then you're also going to take your tape and measure on your front panel where your knee is supposed to fall. So my knee is supposed to be at 22, somewhere here. So from your waist to your knee, wherever it sits, is if it's 19, 21, anywhere, 20, anywhere it is. So it's supposed to be on this line. I'm going to now blend in this crotch into that line. If you want the opening of your pants to be wide, a lot wider than this, you can always leave the back, this side free like this, but I want mine to be narrowed a little, so that's why I'm going to blend in this part to the knee. So just blend it in like this into the knee, wherever your knee is, your waist to your knee. So you see I've blended it in. So I'm going to cut off the rest. I've started cutting it before I remember to tell you guys that you remember that you're going to be inserting your zipper allowance, because this is a jumpsuit, right? So we need a zipper at the back. So I'm going to mark 1 inch of zipper. If you want, you can do 1.5 and just mark 1 inch or 1.5, anyone you're working with, away from this line, and then connect it to wherever you feel the length of your zip will stop. So let's say mine is going to stop somewhere here. So I'm going to just cut this out now. I'm going to cut from this side out of this and know that this is my zipper allowance. So guys, this is basically my pants here. I'm going to insert a video on how to attach a pocket if you want to do that, but the pocket I'm going to be using here is just going to be a side pocket, because I thought 3 years would be able to make this jumpsuit for me. Guys, please use 3.5, because I'm trying to see how I'm going to insert the top of this now. Use 3.5 or so. Just make sure you have enough, because this is just the 3 yards I have, and I thought it was going to be enough, but I'm just seeing now it might not be enough for me. So after that, you're also going to insert your dart. Like I said before, my dart is going to be like 4 inches, but I'm going to leave half an inch of where my zip and the seam allowance. So I'm going to just mark it down like this. So you can do like 6 inches or so for your darts, for your back darts, and then I'm just going to notch it, so I know that this is where the dart is going to be. Also notch the front and know that that is where my dart is going to be. So I'm going to set this aside. Let's move over to the front panel. What you're supposed to do at this point is just to draft out your pattern. You can cut this on your fabric, but because I want to show you guys how to do, just draft a basic bodice pattern. But remember, all you have to do is just to fold your fabric into 2, right? And then you're going to insert your bust measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch, which is what I have here. My bust is 42, divided by 4 plus 1 inch is going to be 10.5 plus 1, 11.5. Down to my waist divided by 4 is 8.5 plus 1 inch of these darts replaced, and then 1 inch of side seam, which is what I marked here. Then insert your shoulder measurement. But for the shoulder, you're going to do your shoulder measurement divided by 2, but remove 1 because it's a sleeveless. But if it's not sleeveless, then you can use your complete shoulder. But guys, if you notice here, when I was drafting this pattern, I also, this is my half length, my shoulder to my waist, with the half an inch of sewing it to the bottom and half an inch of joining the shoulder. And my dart stops, my shoulder to my nipple is at this point here. My shoulder to nipple is at 12, and my dart stops at almost my shoulder to nipple is at this point. My dart stops 1 inch before that, so this is where it is. But for the back, dart now is going to extend all the way to the chest line, which is this armhole line. But for the front, is going to be this way. I just use this particular pattern here so that I can use it to trace both the front and the back, since the two of them are going to have an extension. You know, normally your front bodice is like this, and then you cut everything out on a fold, right? But since the front is going to be extended by, let's say, 3 or 4 inches, because it looks like a wrap or a fox wrap, and then the back also have a zipper, I just decided to go with drafting it this way, and then I can always extend and make all the difference that I need to make. So see what I did here. So guys, like I said, 3 years will not be enough for you, so now I'm trying to improvise. But you can always go ahead and use your akara if you so you can always go ahead and use your akara. But what I'm thinking now is that one side of my front panels, because this is all I have of this fabric, I don't have it anywhere again. So I'm thinking one side of my fabric is now, I'm going to just use akara for it, and then one side is going to be black because I have a black fabric left. That's the only way, because I already cut my jumpsuit, I've cut the pants, and there's nothing else I can do if not to join the fabric. But if you're using your fabric, you can always just make the two of them akara, but don't mind that I'm using this for mine. So what I'm going to do now with this pattern is to open up this zipper part and trace this out. So this is exactly my back panel. So I'm going to trace everything out on this exactly, and it will be my back. This to trace out my back panel. Remember, you see where I wrote zipper on it. So this is going to be my back. If I remove it now, like I said, my dart is going to go up to the chest line. So watch as I remove it now. You see it went up to the chest line, which is this my armhole line. But there's another thing you have to do for the back so that your zip can relax better, is to come up here by 1 inch from the end of your zipper like this, and then you're going to blend it into the side. So you're going to blend it into the side. This will help the zip to relax better, just to reduce the back panel. right? So you're going to cut this part off. That's the only change you have to make from here. And then I'm going to show you guys the change you make in front. So this is my back panel now. Guys, if you want, you can use lining, but I'm not going to be using lining on this. But so for the front, all I have to do is this same pattern again. Remember, this was how we drafted this pattern, but I didn't cut out the armhole because normally I would have. So guys, the changes I will have to make in front is to come down here by 3 inches for my neckline. So because the back was just 1 inch of neckline, and now we've cut the back out, so let's cut the front and bring it down this way. So just mark 3 inches from the shoulder, and then you're going to give it your curve, right? So from here now, I'm going to give it a curve of this 3 inches neckline. So it's 3 inches of width, 3 inches of depth. And then the next change we'll have to make in front is to measure your armhole, which I have here is 9 inches. Halfway through is 4.5. Mark that, and then I'm going to come in here by half an inch, right? And then I'm going to blend it into this armhole, and then with a straight line all the way to the top. You see all the changes I'm making, I'm using a red marker to show you guys, so you'll see. And then the bottom part, I'm just going to use this curve ruler to just curve it into this armhole. So guys, that's basically it. I'm going to cut out this neckline now and cut this part out. So guys, now that I've done that, I'm going to unfold this side. The zipper, you see what we had before, so I removed this, I brought this out now. I'm going to check what I have for my zipper. So this, what I have here is 1.5. So to make it up to 4 inches, because this is like a wrap top, and normally, you know, when you make something that looks like this wrap top, you always extend by at least 4 inches, so that that's from one point of the nipple to the other, because remember, when you're marking your dart, is your nipple to nipple that you use. So I use 4.5 here, so I'm going to extend it by, let's say, 4 inches. So let me place it here. So guys, from this center line now, I'm going to make sure I still have up to 4 inches by the center here. Remember this line that we marked here, sorry that it's on this other side, but just know that I'm going to trace out everything, but the center, which is where my pattern is going to start, is going to be extended by 4 inches in front. So that's basically all I have to do here. So guys, now I've cut out this here with the extension of the 4 inches like I told you guys. Remember, this is the center pattern here. We trace this on a fold like this. So extending it here, I made sure to complete whatever I have. Starting from this center part all the way out is 4 inches. That's starting from this fold here. This line that we made here is 4 inches is what I have here extended. So now there are 2 lines that you need to make sure you notch here, guys, and it's going to be your dart. You need to know where this dart falls in. I notched it, and then you also need to know where the center of your clothes is, both on the neckline and at the bottom of your clothes. So you see where this fold is, I notched it. So guys, basically what I'm trying to say is you're going to notch where the fold of this clothes is, and then where the dart is. So this is where my center part is. I notched that one already. So this is basically this. These 2 are now the same. And then I also notch where my dart is supposed to be, because once I open this up now, this way, all I have to do now is just to cut out the thing that will be lapping over, because all I have to do is just to tilt this way, iron it down, and then tilt this one this way, iron it down. The whole point of knowing where my center is just so that I can place this center point on this center point, and it will make one top, right? Place this center on this center. That's why you need to know where the center of this cloth is, so that when you put the 2 of them together, you're making back one bodice. You see, this one is right here, and this is where the center is. If I turn it around on this other side, I have exactly the same perfect bodice, right? So this is where it's supposed to be. I've notched it now, like this and like this. So guys, to sew it now, the next thing we have to cut out is you're going to cut out a bodice, because guys, remember, my fabric was not enough. If not this, I started out this tutorial thinking I'm going to make exactly what the picture says, like with the same fabric, but my fabric was not enough. I had to change one side at least to black so that I can get so I can use it, right? So what I'm going to do now is, since I still have more of my black, I'm still also going to use that black that I initially planned to use as the facing of the inside of the collar, because remember when you turn it over like this, you're still supposed to use a different color for the inside of the collar, just like you're making a jacket, right? You're making a blazer. So I'm still going to use that fabric, which is the black one. I still have a lot of it here. I'm going to trace out exactly this pattern all over this side. Like I'm going to trace, guys, I'm going to trace out everything I have on this side again into this collar, at least by come into my collar by, let's say, like 3 inches into my collar, somewhere here, just so I'm sure it covers everything. So I'm going to trace out exactly everything here up to this point, right? Maybe away from my dart, but just like this. I'm going to trace out this pattern into 2 because I need it so that when I fold my collar this way, the inside of the cloth is going to be the color of whatever I used to change it. So I'm going to go ahead now and do that. Finished one side, so I'm going to show you guys how I did it. So this is it now. Also, all I have to do is to get the other side and join the 2 of them together at the center here. So you see how the neckline is going to flap over like this, going to the edge, to the point here. And this is my center line. Remember this chalk that I marked here? So this is where my center of my cloth, this side it's going into the other side of the cloth. So basically for the back panel, what I did is, guys, like I said, you can go ahead and line this, just cut out your lining and join it together to it. So this is the other side of the back. What I did was just to use bias to sew the shoulder close. So you see, I finished the shoulder. I used bias to turn this over first. That's the first thing I did. I picked my dart at the back, and that is it. So for the front, what I did, how I did it is just to remember what I told you guys to cut out, right? That mark that I made, and I said you guys should cut from this point. You see, this is exactly what I cut out here. If you look at it, it's exactly, you see this line that I made here all the way to the end, just halfway through is what I cut here. So all I'm going to do now is just to take this is the right side of my cloth. I'm going to just take this here and join it together. So all I'm going to do is just to take it this way. This is the front and this is the front. Take it the way it is now. I'm going to just sew from this edge here. So I'm going to sew this part close with 1/2 inch all the way to the top, and then use 1/2 inch again to sew this edge all the way to the end. So guys, you see I've joined the side, and then this is what it looks like on this other side. So now all I have to do is to flip it inside out. Make sure you get this edge here, flip it inside out. So you see, this is what I have now. So you can go ahead and iron this here, and also don't forget to pick your dart. So once you have it this way, so you see when I turn it over, it's going to come in this way on this other side, and then this one on this side here is going to. So guys, but before that, one other thing you have to do is the shoulder. So you're going to take this neckline now, and then this is the side, right? This side is to this side. You see my armhole on this side. I need to fix in this shoulder to join to this shoulder, right? These 2 shoulders need to meet each other here to get the bodice, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one, place it on top like this. This is my back panel, remember. I'm going to place it on top like this, and then I'm going to use this one, this side of my black, and then I'm going to push this one to the very edge of where this black joins to this bodice. Place it perfectly. Just join my shoulder of the Akara together. Join it perfectly how it's supposed to be, and then pull this black one to cover it, and then sew it down. So guys, you see I've sewn it down. So now all I have to do is just to pull this black out, sorry, this side one out. The back panel is what I want to say. So pull it out. That's why you have to hem the edge. Make sure you've gone ahead and stitch this finish up your shoulder at the back, so that once you pull it out, everything is perfect like this. So all I have to do is to go ahead and iron it, and then I'm going to turn this one over to this side like this. So once turn it this way like this to the edge, and then iron it down. Take the other side this way and turn it again. Do the same thing on the other side. And guys, once you've finished this, also remember to use bias to run the armhole. So I'm going to still use bias to run through this armhole, and then this is what the other side is going to look like. So I'm going to place this side. Guys, remember, like I said, you can do the same fabric. My fabric was just not enough. That's why I'm using 2 different colors here. So what I'm going to do now is to make sure you place, remember that mark that we made here to note our center. I'm going to take the center, which is also on this one now. I'm going to place the 2 of them together. So I know that this is where the 2 of them are supposed to meet. So guys, I've placed the center together where the two of them are supposed to meet. I want the akara part to be on top, but on if the two of them were the same, it wouldn't matter. I just wanted to have since mine is two different colors, that's why I'm even saying this. But any side you want, you can place on top, and then I'm just going to go ahead and iron this side down this way, and then this other one underneath is also going to be facing this way, and that's basically it. All I have to do now is I've gone ahead and joined my jumpsuit. So you see what the front, my bodice is already ready for me. So all I have to do now is just to take my jumpsuit and join it. I've joined the so you're going to join the two fronts together, the two back together at the center, and then you're going to just hem everything. So I'm going to now take this front part of my jumpsuit, because I like to have my side seam out in case I need to take it in. I'm going to just take this the way it is now and join it to the front of my pant. So this panel is going to go here, and I'm going to make sure to put my darts to the dart in front of my pant like this. So this is how I'm going to join the front panel together, and then I'll join the back to the back on both sides, you see, plus my zipper allowance, and then I'm going to close up the two sides. Guys, I'm going to try to insert how to put in the pockets for you guys, depending on the type of pocket you want. If you want a pant pocket that comes across on top of your fabric, it's going to be linked even on the comment section or on the link below. Anyway, I'm going to pin it, the two methods of putting pocket. If you want the one to put the side pocket, or if you want the one of the pocket that comes on top, anyone you want. I'm also thinking I might even go ahead and insert a belt to the side of my clothes, but that's just an extra. I'm just trying to make it look even nicer, because I like to have it cinched in at the waist. So that's basically it. I'm going to couple everything together now, and I'll bring it back so you guys can see what it looks like. Here I've finished mine. I've joined the body to it. So basically, once I finish pinning this down, I join the front of the pants to this part. Like I said, try to line your darts. So I joined the front to the back, joined the back to each other, and then guys, as I was closing the side, I decided to put in a belt, just like a belt inside of my seam. You see one seam coming down, I just put in a belt on it, and then this is what the back looks like. I used a 24 inches zip because I need the zip to come down a lot. So this is the back, you see. So this belt will be tied at the back just to pull it together a little. So that's basically it for this tutorial. I will see you guys in my next one. Please guys, subscribe to the channel, like and comment. Bye.